Okay, so focus na tayo sa consideration of internal controls. So, punta muna tayo sa nature ng isang internal control. Bakit po ba merong internal control? So, kung titignan natin, kung maliit yung isang entity, kaya na naman ng isang owner or ng manager na i-oversee lahat ng mga nangyayari, pati yung mga functions ng bawat department. Pero kasi, the more na lumalaki yung isang business, the more na dumadami yung departments. Dahil doon, hindi lahat ng mga transactions or operations is kaya ng bantayan ng manager-owner. So, dahil dyan, kailangan ng i-delegate yung mga functional responsibilities to some employees. And para ma-ensure na talagang ginagawa nila yung dapat nilang ginagawa, tapos na-monitor nila yung mga employees na yon. So, dito pumapasok yung concept ng internal control. So, ano po ba yung definition ng internal control? So, according to PSA 315, internal control is the process designed and effected by those charged with governance, management, and other personnel to provide reasonable assurance about the achievement of the entity's objectives with regard to reliability of financial reporting, effectiveness, and efficiency of operations, pati na rin po compliance with applicable laws and regulations. So, we can, based on definition, pwede natin siyang hatiin sa 4 na concept. Una, internal control is a process. So, internal control is not an end in itself. So, meaning, tuloy-tuloy yun. Na kapag na-achieve na yung isang purpose, is into na, tapos na, hindi po. So, tuloy-tuloy lang siya hanggang sa na-achieve yung entity's objective. Pangalawang concept ng internal control is that internal control is affected by those charged with governance, management, and other personnel. So, sabi daw po kasi, internal control is accomplished by people at every level of organization, including the management, those charged with governance, and entities' staff personnel. So, from that, we can say na it is the responsibility of the management to establish a controlled environment and maintain policies and procedures to assist in achieving the entity's objectives. On the other hand, yun namang pong mga tao na charged with governance, kailangan naman nilang i-ensure yung integrity of accounting and financial reporting systems through oversight of management. So, paano naman po yung mga staff personnel? So, ano naman dapat nilang gawin? So, they must perform their respective functions in order to accomplish the objectives of the entity. So, another concept ng internal control, diba sabi nga sa definition, internal control can be expected to provide reasonable assurance of achieving the entity's objectives. So, again, i-take note natin, no? Reasonable assurance lang. Since meron po kasi tayong mga inherent limitations. So, meron din po tayong inherent limitations pagdating sa internal control. Ano po mga yon? So, usually, yung usual requirement ng management sa cost of internal control, so, it should not exceed the expected benefits to be derived. So, dahil doon, parang enough na sa kanila na kahit hindi ganun kaganda yung internal control na i-implement nila. Kasi inisip nila, kapag yung mas maganda, mas mahal. So, baka naman hindi masyadong beneficial sa atin. So, dahil doon, hindi enough yung internal control na ini-implement nila since mas kinoconsider nila na dapat hindi lumagpas sa benefit yung magiging cost ng internal control nila. And then, another limitation, mostly internal controls tend to be directed at routine transactions rather than non-routine transactions. So, meaning, mas marami silang internal controls kapag routinary yung transaction. Kasi kapag routinary, mas madali kasi talagang malaman yung kung sakaling mayroong misstatement. Routinary yun So, alam mo na yung ini-input, alam mo na rin magiging output. Unlike, kapag kasi non-routinary transactions, ito yung mga transactions na usually mas involve yung judgment. And dapat sana, mas nababantayan rin yun katulad ng pagbabantay na ginagawa nila for routinary transactions. Kasi, baka naman, since this is non-routinary, hindi natin ina-expect kung ano yung magiging possible outcome nito. So, baka doon nakakalusot yung mga material misstatement. Another limitation pagdating sa internal controls is yung potential for human error due to carelessness, distraction, mistakes of judgment, and misunderstanding of instruction. Again, babalik tayo sa concept na tao lang din naman yung mga process owner o yung nagko-conduct ng internal controls. So, dahil doon, since pwedeng pagod sila, puyat sila, or sa hindi nakasamang pagkakataon, pwede silang magkamali. So, dahil doon, possible na hindi natin or hindi ma-detect ng internal controls nila yung mga material misstatement. Another limitation, ito yung pinaka-common, the possibility of circumvention of internal controls through the collusion among employees. So, bigay tayo ng isang internal control, yung custody, so may segregation of duties. So, iba yung nakatao sa custody ng asset, iba yung nag-account, iba yung nag-record. Then, iba rin yung nag-execute. So, kahit sabihin natin na meron segregation of duties, kung magkakampi naman yung apat na yun, so, pwede pa rin sila makapag-misappropriate. At the same time, makakonceal nila yun. Kasi nga, tulong-tulong silang apat. So, dahil doon, may magagawa ba tayo para ma-detect yun? Wala po. Mahihirapan tayo. Kasi, kaya nga andun yung internal controls para at least matulungan tayo na ma-detect yung mga material misstatement. But, kung magkakampi yung mga process owners na yun, bibigyan lang nila tayo ng documents na talagang predetermine in a sense na eto na yun. Ito yung pinakamaganda para at least kapag chinek mo to, di mo makikita na meron talagang material misstatement. Another limitation ng internal control, yung possibility of management overriding the internal control. So let's say, one of the internal controls na ginagawa nila is kailangan may multiple signatures. So, una, dapat may signature si preparer. Tapos, pipirmahan siya ng reviewer. And then, after nun, pipirmahan siya ng pinaka-top management. So, para at least makikita na kapag na-review na siya ng reviewer tsaka ng top management, ilalagay nila doon na merong pirma. Tapos, biglang nung tinitingnan natin, iba yung nakapirma sa reviewer, hindi yung mismong reviewer, ibang tao lang. So, nagulat tayo, o kaya, pwede nakita natin, may pirma yung preparer, walang pirma yung reviewer, pero may pirma yung top management. So, from that, nakikita natin na ino-override din kasi minsan ng management, yung internal controls nila. That's why, medyo lumiliit yung effectiveness ng internal controls na ini-implement. And then lastly, possibility that procedures may become inadequate due to changes in conditions and compliance with procedures may deteriorate. And then last concept ng definition ng internal control is that internal control is designed to help achieve the entity's objective. So, kaya ginawa yung internal control is dahil gusto din ng management o ng client natin na ma-achieve yung kanilang objective. So, paano po? So, parang gusto nila ma-achieve na effective talaga and efficient yung operations, na compliant sila sa laws and regulations, and then, through internal controls, gusto nilang ma-achieve na talagang reliable yung kanilang financial reporting. So, ngayon, as an auditor, our task is only concerned with those policies and procedures within the accounting and internal control systems that are relevant to the financial statement assertions. So again, yung mga internal controls, that are relevant to FS assertions, yun lang po yung kailangan nating i-test. So meaning, ito lang po yung kailangan nating i-audit. Ito lang yung kailangan nating intindihin or i-understand. Kasi kung yung internal controls nila is hindi naman makaka-affect or wala naman siyang influence do sa ating FS assertions, then no need to test those internal controls. So, magsasayang lang tayo ng oras at resources kung pati yun, i-audit pa natin. So, yung mga operational and compliance objectives may be relevant to the audit only if they relate to data the auditor evaluates to determine the reliability of some financial statement assertions. So, kung hindi naman relevant yung mga operational and compliance objectives sa pag-evaluate para malaman natin kung reliable ba yung financial statement assertions, so we can now disregard those objectives, or we can also now disregard those internal controls that have those objectives. So, ano po ba yung components of internal control? So, we have control environment, risk assessment, information and communication system, control activities, and then lastly, monitoring. So, isa-isayin natin. Punta muna tayo sa control environment. So, when we talk about control environment, it includes the attitudes, awareness, and actions of management and those charged with governance concerning the entity's internal controls and its importance in the entity. So, the control environment also includes the governance and management functions and sets the tone of an organization, influencing the control consciousness of its people. So, yung control environment, it is the foundation for effective internal control, discipline, and structure. So, ano ba yung mga factors na reflected sa control environment? So, yung integrity and ethical values, management philosophy and operating style, yung active participation of those charged with governance, commitment to competence, personal policies and procedures, and then lastly, assignment of responsibility and authority or organizational structure. So, punta naman tayo sa risk assessment. So, the entity's objectives cannot be achieved without some risk. So, ano po ba yung business risk? So, business risk is the risk that the entity's business objectives will not be attained as a result of internal and external factors, such as technological developments, changes in customer demands, and other economic changes. So, sabi daw, business risks are crucial to every organization. That's why, yung management, kailangan nilang mag-adapt ng policies and procedures na nakadesign na ma-identify and ma-analyze yung mga risks na nakakaapekto sa entity's business. And then, once they determine kung ano yung mga risks na to, they must take appropriate action na i-address or i-manage itong mga risks. So, for audit purposes, ang concern lang po natin na as an auditor is yung mga risk na relevant sa preparation ng reliable financial statements. So, kung ang risk na to is it affects the efficiency or effectivity of operations o di kaya yung compliance nila sa laws and regulations, then we can disregard those. Kasi nga, ang focus natin is audit of financial statement. Punta naman tayo sa information and communication system. So, sabi daw, effective internal control must provide timely information and communication. So, pag sinabi nating information system, it is relevant to financial reporting objectives, which includes the financial reporting system, consists of the procedures and records established to initiate, record, process, and report entity transactions. At the same time, it is also to maintain accountability for the related assets, liabilities, and equity. So, yung information system, it encompasses methods and records that identify and record all valid transactions. Dinidescribe niya yung on a timely basis, yung mga transactions in sufficient detail to permit proper classification of transactions for financial reporting. It also measures the value of transactions in a manner that permits recording their proper monetary value in the financial statements. It also determines the time period in which transaction occurred to permit recording of transactions in the proper accounting period and to represent properly the transactions and related disclosures in the financial statements. On the other hand naman, kapag sinabi naman natin communication, it involves providing an understanding of individual roles and responsibilities pertaining to internal control over financial reporting. So, yung open communication channel, so it will help to ensure that exceptions are reported and acted on. So, yung communication, it can be made electronically, orally, and through the actions of management. Punta naman tayo sa control activities. Ano naman daw po yun? So, ito yung mga policies and procedures that help ensure that management directives are carried out. So, meron po siyang 4. We have performance reviews, information processing, physical controls, and segregation of duties. So, pag sinabi natin performance reviews, it includes review and analysis of actual performance versus budgets, forecast, and prior period performance, relating different sets of data to one another, together with analysis of the relationships and investigative and corrective actions. Kapag naman sinabi natin information processing, so meron tayong variety of controls and they are performed to check the accuracy, completeness, and authorization of transactions. So, if computer processing is used, then internal control procedures can be classified into 2 types. So, meron tayong general and application controls. For physical controls naman, ito naman po yung mga activities that encompass the physical security of assets. So, ano ba yung mga yon? So, kung merong adequate safeguards ba, such as secured yung facilities over access to asset and records, yung authorization per access to computer programs and data files, pati na rin yung periodic counting and comparison with amounts shown on control records. And then lastly, yung segregation of duties. So, pagdating sa segregation of duties, ito nga po yung care, di ba? Custody, accounting, recording, execution. So, under segregation of duties, we assign different people the responsibilities of authorizing transactions, recording transactions, and maintaining custody of assets. So, bakit siya ginagawa? Ang intention po kasi nun is to reduce the opportunities to allow any person to be in a position to both perpetrate and conceal errors or fraud in the normal course of the person's duties. So, para at least, di ba, mas madali kasing mag-conceal. For example, kung nasa yung custody, tapos at the same time, ikaw din yung nag-record ng transaction. So, pag ganun, palalabasin mo lang na walang collection na nangyari. So, dahil doon, pag chinek yung records, hindi nagdagdagan yung cash. Pero in reality, nadagdagan. Tapos, ang nangyari lang, ninakaw mo yun na kolekta mo. And then lastly, yung monitoring. So, monitoring is a process of assessing the quality of internal control performance over time. So, it involves assessing the design operation of controls on a timely basis and taking necessary corrective actions. So, monitoring is done to ensure that controls continue to operate effectively. Monitoring of controls is accomplished through ongoing activities, separate evaluations, or a combination of the two. So, ano po ba yung difference ng dalawa? Excuse me lang po. So, kapag sinabi natin ongoing monitoring activities, they are built into the normal recurring activities of an entity and include regular management and supervisory activities, such as preparation of monthly bank reconciliation. Pag naman separate evaluations, ito naman yung mga non-routinary basis. So, monitoring activities siya na perform on non-routine basis. So, ito yung mga functions na ginagawa ng internal auditors. So, paano naman po yung internal control for small businesses? So, sabi nila, since konti yung kanilang employees, syempre, mahirap magkaroon ng segregation of duties doon. Kasi diba, ang concept ng segregation of duties, iba't ibang tao sa bawat responsibility o bawat department. O, diba, doon sa care. O, paano mo magagawa yon kung dalawa lang yung empleyado mo? O, diba, kulang ka pa ng dalawa. So, that's why, yung internal control system sa mga small businesses, usually, they are weak compared sa internal control sa mga large entities. So, paano siya nako-compensate? So, ginagawa na lang, since maliit naman yung business, mas kayang i-oversee or i-manage ng owner or ng manager yung business na yon. That's why, ang kaibahan naman niya sa mga large businesses or large entities, mas malaki yung involvement ng owners or ng manager sa internal controls sa operations ng business kaysa dun sa mga larger entities. So, again, kung compare natin yung small businesses sa mga large businesses, syempre, since kulang sila sa tao, mas weak talaga yung internal controls ng small businesses. But to compensate that, ang ginagawa, mas active yung participation ng owner sa operations. Kaya, mas na-oversee niya yung nangyayari. Punta tayo sa mismong consideration ng internal control. So, ba't natin kailangan i-consider yung internal control natin? So, always remember, yung internal control, it is not our task as an auditor to establish and maintain entities accounting and internal control system. So, sino ba may trabaho nun? Yung management. So, sila talaga nag-establish nung mismong internal control. Ang trabaho lang natin as an auditor is ma-ensure lang na adequate yung consideration ng mga internal controls kasi it will affect the quality of the financial statements that they will make. Kasi kung maganda yung kanilang internal control, na-assess natin, nakita natin maganda, then it is safe to say na possibly maganda rin yung magiging financial statements na magagawa nila. So, pagdating sa consideration of internal control, dito na po papasok yung pag-assess natin. Assessment of control risk. So, actually, meron tayong 5 steps. Una, we must obtain understanding of the internal control. Pangalawa, i-document natin yung understanding. So, document the understanding of internal control. And then, pangatlo, pwede na natin ma-assess yung control risk. And then, pang-apat, kung nakita natin mababa yung control risk at mag-rely tayo, we can perform test of controls. And then, lastly, after we conduct a test of controls, ina-document na natin yung assess level of control risk. Kasi ganito yung mangyayari. So, una, di ba, magkakaroon tayo ng obtain ng understanding ng internal controls. Bakit sulat ko? So, di ba, understanding the internal controls. Tapos, i-check natin, mataas ba yung control risk or mababa? So, punta na tayo sa understanding of the internal control. Paano ba natin ginagawa yon? So, we have two. So, una, we evaluate the design of the internal control. So, alamin natin, maganda ba yung design? In a sense, na effective siya para maka-detect ng financial statements. And then, pangalawa, we will now determine the implementation. Kasi, sabi ko nga, baka nga yes, sobrang ganda ng internal control o design ng internal control. Pero hindi naman siya implemented. So, dahil doon, wala rin, di ba? Walang sense yung internal control mo. Literal na talagang design lang. kasi hindi niya nagagawa yung function niya. So, kapag ine-evaluate natin yung design, we can make inquiry. We can also make inspection. We can also make observation. So, gagawin po natin, kapag tinitingnan natin yung design, tanungin natin, paano po ba siya nakaka-detect na material misstatement? So, ano po ba mangyayari kung sakaling maling error, mali po na i-input nyo? O kaya, may way po ba kayo para ma-verify na talagang tama yung pagkaka-record nyo? Tapos, we can also do inspection. Mag-request tayo ng documents para ma-ensure na talagang yung nakalagay sa records nila is same dun sa document or nakalagay sa documents. And we can also observe. And then, after nun, tsaka natin aalamin. Okay, nalaman na natin yung design ng internal controls. I-check na natin kung siya ba ay implemented. So, for the implementation, we can also conduct these 3. But in addition to that, papasok yung tatawag nating walkthrough. From the name itself, walkthrough, di ba? Ilalakad natin. So, ang concept ng walkthrough test is parang ganito. So, di ba merong internal controls? So, gagawin, i-guide tayo, i-walkthrough tayo, o ilalakad tayo ng process owner dun sa internal controls na yon para makita natin from the very start hanggang sa mayari yung internal control. In that way, mas madali natin makikita na, okay, implemented naman pala yung internal controls na meron sila. So usually, yung pag-walkthroughs, hindi naman siya based sa internal controls. Usually, that is based on the process. So, yung business process, meron doon nakapaloob na internal controls. Kung saan yung input, meron sa ilalagay ng input, and then, pag nangyari yung business process na yun, meron na silang certain output. But of course, before mag-arrive do sa certain output na yun, meron silang mga internal controls na nakapaloob sa loob ng business process to ensure na tama talaga yung output na maibibigay nila. So, through walkthrough, i-guide tayo doon ng process owner. So, from the very start, the moment na makakuha niya yung data o yung information, pag pinraccess niya, hanggang sa ipaperform niya ng internal control, paano mangyayari, and then, hanggang sa dumating na sa output. So, usually, during the walkthrough, nag-i-inquire na rin po tayo. So, meron tayong mga possible questions na tatanungin natin sa process owner. Such as, what if po, wala, for example, yung kanyang internal control is yung merong signature ng preparer, reviewer, tsaka nung isa pang reviewer. Tatanungin natin, required po ba na lahat ng signature is andoon? Pag sinabi na yes, kailangan, follow-up question, what if absent po yung isang reviewer? So, paano po magpo-proceed? O nagpo-proceed po ba? Pag sinabi, minsan po, ino-override naman. From that, ita-document natin na meron palang override ng internal controls na nangyayari. So, ganun po yung walkthrough. So, it's to be emphasized that the auditor is not required to obtain knowledge about the operating effectiveness of the internal control when obtaining an understanding of the entity's internal control system. So, ano ba required? Kasi sabi daw, hindi naman tayo required na maka-obtain tayo ng knowledge about the operating effectiveness. Since di yan, yan yung operational audit na tinatawag. So, ang trabaho lang natin is tagang i-determine yung design ng relevant control policies. At the same time, aalamin natin kung ito bang design ng internal control nila is talagang nai-implement. So, ginagamit natin yung understanding ng internal control para malaman yung mga potential misstatements that can occur. Makakonsider din natin yung mga possible factors na makaka-apekto sa risk of material misstatement. And then lastly, makakagawa na tayo ng design ng nature, timing, and extent of audit procedures to be performed. After tayo magkaroon ng understanding sa internal control, Ano yung susunod na gagawin? I-document na natin. So, gagawa tayo ng working paper. So, doon, ilalagay natin yung understanding natin sa kanilang accounting and internal control system. Wala namang required na particular form regarding sa documentation. Ang malaga lang, talagang may present natin yung kung gaano ba ka-effective yung design and at the same time, implemented ba yung internal controls nila. So, pwedeng gumamit ng narrative description, pwede tayong mag-flowchart, o kaya pwedeng i-attach yung internal control questionnaire. So, it will depends na rin sa auditor kung paano niya i-document yung understanding niya sa internal control. Ang malaga, malinaw siya. Na kapag binasa siya, madali natin malalaman kung gaano ba ka-effective yung internal control. At the same time, madali din natin makikita na siya ay implemented. After natin ma-understand yung internal control at ma-document, papasok na tayo sa assessment of risk. So, dito, aalamin na natin, mataas ba yung control risk or mababa? Pag po kasi mataas ang control risk natin, ibig sabihin, wala na tayong test of control na ipe-perform. Kasi kapag sinabi natin mataas ang control risk, meaning mataas yung risk na hindi madetect ng internal controls yung mga material misstatements. So, from that, we can say na, di tayo pwede mag-rely sa internal controls. Kasi nga, hindi niya nadedetect masyado yung mga material misstatements. So, dahil dyan, we will proceed with substantive procedure. Kung saan yung nature, timing, and extent, again, yung nature, it will be more extensive or more effective. Yung timing naman, at year end. And then, yung extent, more samples. Ma'am, what if yung na-assess namin control risk is mababa? So, pag ganun, since mababa yung control risk, nasasabi natin na, okay, maganda naman yung internal controls nila. So, mababa yung risk na hindi madedetect yung material misstatements. Meaning, nakakadetect talaga. So, from that, iisipin na natin. Since maliit naman yung risk na hindi madedetect yung internal controls, baka pwede tayong mag-rely. And para masabi natin na kung pwede ba tayong mag-rely do sa ating control risk, kailangan natin mag-perform ng test of controls. Again, kung gusto natin mag-rely sa control risk, since kung gusto natin mag-rely sa internal controls, since mababa naman yung control risk, then we need to perform first yung test of control. And from that, tsaka tayo magkakaroon ng final na assessment ng control risk. So, kung mababa talaga yung control risk, meaning we can rely. Kung mababa talaga yung control risk, so we can rely. Kung mababa talaga yung control risk, so meaning, pwede tayo mag-rely sa internal control. Dahil dyan, mas konti na yung magiging nature, extent, and timing ng ating audit procedures. So, yung nature ng ating audit procedures will be less extensive. Yung timing naman, pwede nang at interim. And then, yung extent will be lesser samples. Ma'am, what if after test of controls, nakita namin na, okay po, para mataas pa din yung control risk. Meaning, hindi talaga natin kaya mag-rely sa internal controls natin. So, dahil dyan, magpaproceed pa rin tayo dito. So, again, kinokonduct lang naman natin ang test of control kapag mababa yung control risk. Kasi nga po, ang objective naman natin sa test of control is talagang titignan natin yung effectiveness ng design ng internal control, pati na rin yung operation ng internal controls throughout the period. Dito po kasi, talagang titignan natin, pwede ba tayong mag-rely sa internal controls. And the moment na mag-rely tayo, makakatulong kasi siya sa atin or sa pag-audit natin. Since mas konti na, yun dapat natin gawin na audit procedures. So, kung wala sa plano natin na mag-rely sa internal controls, so meaning kahit mababa yung internal control, tapos wala talaga tayong balak na mag-rely doon, then no need to conduct test of controls. Diretso na agad tayo ng substantive testing. Kasi again, ang purpose lang naman ni test of controls is para malaman kung pwede ba tayong mag-rely sa internal controls natin. So, ano po ba yung mga nature of test of control? So, pwede tayong magkaroon ng inquiry, again, observation and inspection. And then, yung isa pong ginagawa is reperformance. So, ma'am, ano po difference ng reperformance sa walkthrough test? Sa walkthrough test po kasi, si process owner talaga yung nagko-conduct ng walkthrough. So, pinapakita niya lang sa atin. Kaya nga po, walkthrough yung tawag. Parang nililibot niya tayo doon sa mismong process. On the other hand, kapag sinabi natin reperformance, tayo na yung magpe-perform ng procedure. Kasi di ba possible na under walkthrough, medyo scripted. Kasi alam talaga ng mga process owners na magko-conduct sila ng walkthrough sa atin. So, kung nakita natin na, okay, maganda naman yung design, implemented, o sige, try natin, baka kaya mag-rely. Perform tayo ng test of control. So, para ma-ensure natin na pwede tayong mag-rely at hindi tayo dinadaya ng process owner, we will conduct reperformance. So, uulitin natin yung ginagawa ng process owner. So, usually, gagawin natin ulit. So, from the very start, kung paano na ginawa internal control hanggang sa dulo. So, for center controls, such as segregation of duties, yung documentary evidence may not exist, meaning wala siyang audit trail. So, paano pa gagawin? Pag mga ganito, si auditor will have to test the effectiveness of the control procedure by making inquiry of appropriate client personnel and observing the application of the control procedures. So, there is a significant overlap between the procedures used to obtain understanding and test of control. Notice that inquiry of client personnel, observation of procedures, and inspection of documents are also used when obtaining understanding. Also, obtaining understanding of the entity's internal control system and assessing the control list are often done simultaneously. So, meaning, hindi po siya parang kailangan mayari muna natin yung understanding bago tayo mag-proceed sa assessment. Usually, habang kinokonduct pa lang natin yung understanding ng internal controls, meaning, tinitingnan pa lang natin o tinetest natin yung design ng internal controls at tinitingnan natin kung siya ba implemented, ina-assess na natin si control list. So, paano po ba magiging timing ng test of controls? So, auditors usually perform test of controls during an interim visit in advance of period end. However, auditors cannot rely on the results of such tests without considering the need to obtain further evidence relating to the remainder of the period. So, yung evidence, it may be obtained by performing test of control for the remaining period o di kaya i-review whether meron bang changes na nakakapekto sa entity's internal control system. So again, in determining whether or not to test the remaining period, meron tayong following factors na kailangan i-consider. So ano yung mga yon? Una, yung results ng interim test. Pangalawa, yung length of the remaining period. Pangatlo, whether meron bang changes na nag-occur in the accounting and internal control systems during the remaining period. Punta naman tayo sa extent ng test of control. So, the auditor cannot passively examine all transactions related to control procedures. So, in an audit, the auditor should determine the size of a sample sufficient to support the assessed level of control risk. Okay, so, ano ba yung difference ng operating effectiveness tsaka ng implementation? So, when obtaining audit evidence of implementation by performing risk assessment procedures, the auditor determines that the relevant control exists and that the entity is using them. Again, ang concept ng implementation, tinedetermine natin na yung relevant control is nag-exist talaga at ini-implement or ginagamit talaga ng entity. On the other hand, kapag naman tinetest na natin yung internal controls for its operating effectiveness, so ginagawa na natin is nag-obtain tayo ng audit evidence na talagang nag-ooperate effectively yung controls. So, it includes how controls were applied at relevant times during the period under audit, kung consistent ba siyang ina-apply, o di kaya by whom or by what means they were applied. So, mas broad yung operating effectiveness. Kasi hindi lang natin basta inaalam kung nag-i-assist ba siya or ginagamit siya. So, mas inaalam natin na kung effectively ba siyang ginagawa. So, meaning, consistent ba siyang ginagawa? Paano ba siya na-apply? O di kaya, by what means siya na-apply? Of course, kung mataas ang control risk, mababa po ang detection risk. That's why ito po yung magiging audit procedures natin. And then, kung mababa naman yung control risk, mataas naman po yung ating detection risk. Ito naman po yung magiging audit procedures natin. So, communication of internal control weakness. So, once the auditor may become aware of weaknesses in the system, in this regard, the auditor is required to report to the appropriate level of management the material weaknesses in the design or operation of the accounting and internal control systems, which have come to the auditor's attention. So, yung communication, it can be in writing, and of course, it must be done at the earliest opportunity so that appropriate corrective actions may be taken as soon as possible. So, pwede rin naman po yung mga oral communications. So, pwede siyang gawin in case na meron tayong na-detect na weakness sa internal control. But, of course, kailangan supplemented siya ng magandang or supplemented siya ng working papers na in written din. So, again, yung communication natin, pwedeng written. So, pwede natin i-email sa ating client or sa ating sa appropriate level management. Pwede rin naman natin sabihin verbally. But, of course, either the two, kailangan documented siya sa working papers natin. Again, to emphasize, the auditors are not required to search for or identify internal control weakness. Ang trabaho lang po natin is i-communicate lang yung mga internal control weakness to the client when they come to their attention during the course of the audit. So, etong mga nakita nating internal control weakness, ilalagay natin yan o isusulat sa formal engagement letter or formal management letter rather.